Hey, good morning, and welcome back to another session where we take some questions and some interviews with Miss Ciera Anglin, who started her real estate journey 6 months ago and had no prior experience before then with sales, other than just some retail jobs that you had
Mhm.
in a few places, and just trying to track, kind of your journey through that, your growth in that, things that you've learned, some things that maybe you've learned the hard way,
Mhm.
and
There's been a couple of
and
us.
and just trying to get a feel for what does it take to really make real estate a career if somebody out there is looking to do that. So Sierra, you're 6 months in, and where we sitting right now as far as your closed and pending?
So as far as closed, I had a closing yesterday, and that brought me up to 10 closed for the year. And at the moment, I've got 7 pending with 7 wonderful clients. So
Well, fantastic. Right now, from that, what we know of where her pendings are and kind of the track record she's had with putting things under contract, we would expect that you're going to be somewhere around 27, 28 deals in your
Mhm.
first year by the time we get, through the rest of this one.
27 to 28, but I'm pushing for 30. So whatever I can do
Yeah,
to make it to 30 by the end of the year is
fantastic.
the
And
goal.
that's a fantastic goal. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that for just a minute. So, whenever you and I sat down back in January, when you were first starting, we kind of explained kind of what the numbers mean
Mhm.
and the breakdown of those things and kind of gave you some insight to it. I don't know that it fully clicks until you kind of really see it take place. But nonetheless, we sit down and we set that goal. And you set a goal to have 30 closed in your first year. So by the end of 2024, to have 30 deals closed. And you're on a very good track for that.
Awesome.
You
Appreciate
you
it.
most certainly are. And I guess just kind of let us know what are some things that you feel have led to being on that track.
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of things that that go into being on that track. First of all, I think most importantly, having a schedule is really important.
Mhm.
Just kind of knowing what your day's going to look like, what your week's going to look like, um, and really having that set in stone so that you have something to follow. Because if you're working with
Right.
7 people under contract at once, that could quickly go everywhere. You could quickly not know where to start. So having a schedule, having routine in place, being consistent, um, having a trainer around at all times to be able to work through difficult questions so that you don't have to stay stuck on that question and be able to move on to the next thing. Just be diligent with your time as possible.
That's very good words,
Yeah.
most certainly. And with that, let's talk a little bit about how we just said that we sit down in January, we set those goals. Were there any other things that took place? Is there anything else that you've been doing monthly or maybe weekly that has kind of stair step that a little bit for you?
I think so. Coming in every single day, Monday through Friday, we would do prospecting from 9:30 to 11:30. And I think the consistency of doing that, even up until this point, I mean, I try to still get that prospecting in when I can, but doing that for the first, 5 months solid, 2 hours a day, building the confidence on the phone, going through difficult questions, unknown questions. When I first started on the phones, I would ask Casey, well, what if they said this? What if they said that? Trying to come up with like every case scenario possible. And it's just impossible to harp on every situation that there is. So just getting in that practice as you can, even if it's scary, I think it was something that helped a lot. Even the phone calls I didn't want to make, you make them anyway. So
Right.
you just do it. And if Elijah told me one thing that stuck with me, I used to sit on the phones, or I'm sorry, I used to sit on the computer and just stare at the phone number that I needed to call for like 5 or 10 minutes, contemplating, can I do this? Can I do this? And Elijah, one time, he said, the less time you think on acting and you just do, the better, less chance for negative thoughts, anxiety, and things of that nature. So the quicker you can act on things that make you anxious, even in this profession specifically, the better.
Right. It's kind of like ripping off a band-aid
Yeah,
in a lot of
exactly.
ways, right? Because
Exactly.
it's like you can do one quick motion and go through that and
Yep.
learn and grow from it, or you can endure that pain slowly as you try to
Right.
avoid more pain. And it's
Yep.
so for some that comes more natural. There's some people that are able to get on those phones and to make those calls, and that's what they enjoy doing.
Yep.
And so everybody has different strengths and different things that make them unique, and we try our best here at Elevate to make sure that we are operating off of our strengths. And discipline is in your top five. And
which helps.
discipline helps when you're running a schedule and you're getting used to doing
Mhm.
new things that haven't come natural to you.
Definitely.
So again, with the daily schedule, with the weekly accountability meetings, see, we took your goals for the year and we broke
Hmm.
them down into months and then we broke them down into weeks. One thing that we've learned in the leadership books that we go through each quarter with our team, some of the lessons out of that, tells us that whenever you have a Mount Everest, whenever you
Hmm.
have a task in front of you that seems in a lot of ways unattainable, break it down
Hmm.
to what's the next step, what's the next right thing that I can
One
do
step.
to get to that,
Hmm.
because nobody goes to Mount Everest uh, all in one jump.
Right.
It's steady progress, and
Yeah. Those meetings helped a lot, by the way. Um, every Friday, we would meet together in the conference room and we would go over the leads that I had, the contacts that I made, the appointments that I'd set, the biggest challenge for the week, where I could improve, and things like that. And sometimes I would just come into the meeting in tears. Sometimes I would come into the meeting excited. Sometimes I would come into the meeting asking 100 questions or just kind of bouncing off ideas from Casey. And it would really, what's the word? I guess ground me in a way, bring me back down to earth if by Friday I'm so kind of riled up from the week and things going on and unanswered questions. It really helped coming together every Friday and being able to kind of dump that not
right,
onto you, but just
right,
work through it together
yeah,
in a way.
100%, yeah,
So it
and
was
that's the
extremely helpful.
well, I appreciate that
Yeah.
greatly, and that's thanks to Elijah setting up
Hmm.
the team the way that he has, and
Yeah.
Lindsay also for helping him do that as well, and that is the core focus of what we like to do at Elevate, which is our coaching, training, and equipping
Hmm.
of our team members, and making sure that we take the time to do that. And that being said, with your journey, you're 6 months in. Whenever you started this in January, did you think that by July you'd have 10? I mean,
No,
I know we set the
no.
goal for
We
30,
right. We
but
set the goal, and that's the expectation and things of that nature. But just knowing that we're kind of in a slower market than usual, and just being brand new, and there knowing in my head that there's hundreds of agents in this area. I've heard, before I started that, real estate's oversaturated in this area. It's going to be hard for you to get any deals. Um, but just knowing that it's where you are. It's who you surround yourself with, the firm you're at, the help you can obtain, and the structure that you're given is where it's at.
so
So,
if somebody was looking at potentially, making real estate a full-time career for
mhm.
them, and they were looking and trying to get information on maybe what that might look like and what might go into that, what is maybe the top advice if you could only tell them, one thing from your
One thing.
experience over 6 months that
Let's
they
see.
really would need to focus on. What's one thing, one piece of advice you
Yeah.
could give to somebody that was looking to start out?
First word that comes to mind is consistency. You're going to get told no a lot. There's going to be deals that fall through. You could be working with somebody for 2 months and you finally get them in a home, and then the home inspection comes up and it falls out, and you feel like all the work that you've done is for nothing. But staying consistent, making those phone calls, again, making a schedule, sticking to the schedule, um, surrounding yourself with the people that you need, be consistently following up with those people and how you can improve. Um, stay consistent. Stay consistent. That's my advice.
And I
That's
think
my
that's very
advice.
good advice. And it's again setting that daily routine of during this time this is what I'm going to do, and we know that life happens.
Hmm.
So we do say hold to our schedule 80% of the time. I
Yeah.
mean, we've always said that, and you've got that schedule. You know what you're doing each day. You know what
Hmm.
the objective is each day,
Absolutely.
and you know what that looks like. So I think that's great advice. Stay consistent in that, and just like anything, if you're going to get better, you got to
Hmm.
practice, and if you
Practice,
and
yes.
practice takes consistency. You've
Hmm.
got to consistently do things that maybe you're not as good at to
Hmm.
continually get better at them. And doing those phone calls and being trained how to accept a no is a very hard thing to come through.
It's a
It
skill
most
that
certainly
I
is.
did not have before, but it's a skill that I'm still learning. The calls were terrifying. I'm not a phone call kind of person. Just in my general life, it's texting, FaceTime, messaging. That's just the norm. So getting on and making 100 straight phone calls, not talking to 100 people, but making those phone calls
Mm-hmm.
in general, was scary to say the least. So
Yeah.
it's not scary anymore though. So so
Right.
that helps.
Right.
But
Well, eventually you come to the understanding that everybody that tells you no just leads you that much closer to the next person that's going to
yeah,
work with you
it's true.
and help you in your career and a lot of times being the next friend
Mhm.
that you have that you can follow up with after closings and things like that. And it leads to a beautiful relationship
Yeah,
when done correctly. But at the end of the day, we are professionals helping buyer and sellers come together in a mutual agreement. So that's what we do.
yeah,
So that being said, Ciera, I think you're doing fantastic for 6 months in. Um, I think you're doing fantastic in general, not
thank you.
just for 6 months in, but just overall.
Means a
Um,
lot.
I do have notes over there that let me know that closed your closed sale volume. So 6 months in, your sales volume closed is right at 3.3 million so far. So 6 months in, you're at
Which
3.3
is
million,
awesome.
and you've got I think 3.4 million currently under contract.
Currently under contract.
So provided all of them close, and we hope that they do, but
hmm
we understand the reality. But
Yep.
provided all of them close, you're going to be looking at just shy of 10 million sales volume, and you still got what another
Few
five
months left.
months
Yeah, few months.
to go. So again, if you're thinking about having real estate be a full-time career for you, if you were thinking about how to get started and what it takes and who to align yourself with when doing that, we hope that you think Elevate. Um, at the end of the day, our goal is to help people grow, and that's what we want to do. And we just chose real estate as a platform to do that,
Yeah,
not only for ourselves but for our community as well. So, Sierra, I greatly appreciate you being willing to take the time to sit down and go through these things, and hopefully, uh, one day you'll be sitting in this seat and training and coaching the
the
next
next
person
person.
coming up,
That'd be awesome.
and being able to share your stories and things with them and watching them grow.
hmm
And can't say enough about that. Can't say enough about Elijah and Lindsay, who have got this vision up and moving and rolling, and none of us would be here without their
No.
vision and guidance. And
If I can
so,
add one thing, or if I
yeah,
can add something, over the past 6 months, not only have I grown professionally, but I have grown so much personally. I couldn't have done it without Elijah and the team. I know I've said that in every interview, and it may be repetitive, but it's just the truth. I would not be where I am today without Elijah, Lindsay, Team Castelli, Casey specifically. Um, so if you're looking for a firm, if you're looking to jump in, call Elevate because it's the place to be. Give it a chance. And again, stay consistent. So
good deal. Well, that's going to conclude our interview today. Again, if there's anything that we can do to help you, please let us know. We're just around the corner, and we'll see you for the 7th month update.
let's do it.
See ya.